Alright gamers, welcome back to another episode of What's in the Box here on Game Master Dungeon. I'm Brian, your Game Master. Today we're going to look inside the starter box for Force and Destiny from the new Star Wars RPG put out by Fantasy Flight. I have only played really one game. I think I played the starter set from was it Edge of the Empire, I think it was. Another member of my gaming group bought it sometimes early in the year, and it was a lot of fun. It's a very unique system, uses its own dice and things like that. I saw this was coming out, and I'm big into Jedi and the Force and the mythology and all that. So I'm really excited to take a look inside and see what we get. So we will be right back, and we'll open it up. Alright gamers, so here we go. So all I've done, I've just removed the cellophane from the outside of the box. If we're ready, let's begin. It's actually really rather heavy. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Let's just see. Let's just dump it all out. What do we got? Filler box. The box for it. Set it off to the side. Alright, so let's start with the one thing I like about these starter boxes. So you get a set of the new dice. So this new system uses its own set of dice. Obviously, there's in the rule book there's like a conversion chart if you want to just use a regular set of polyhedral dice. You know, whatever depending upon what number you roll on the D12, you look at the chart and it'll be, oh, it's this symbol, that symbol, things like that. But I mean, these are like, you go to your game store, 14, 15 bucks. I bought this online for 23. So, I mean, I paid $10 more for all the rest of this stuff. So let's take a look. And I've always been a bit of a dice collector myself. I have a really large dice box. I have different sets and odds and ends. Obviously, if you've read if you've watched the 10 Commandments of tabletop gaming that I've done, obviously dice are dice, right? As long as they're manufactured to certain specifications, it's all probability based. But gamers themselves are superstitious, so sometimes you might be like, "Oh, these black dice are better," you know. So sometimes I get in my moods for different colors and different feels of dice, but. You know, and I don't have enough experience with the game right now to tell you about anything about what just happened right here. I think the black dice are bad. Blue dice are good. I would assume red dice, things like that. But super cool. Dig it. Let's put them back in the bag here so I don't lose them. All right, like 65% of your box is the cost right there. What do we got next? Well, next we obviously, Fantasy Flight will incorporate, what's actually kind of cool, like you can look through this and some of the new games and stuff. Like, we own Relic as well, which is pretty cool. Talks about some of the things that they've got and stuff that might be coming out. The Fantasy Flight does a really, really good job with their products. I've never been dissatisfied. But yeah, you even got the website back there. I'll put another link in the description for Fantasy Flight, because they do have some extra material available for this online. I believe they have a couple of extra characters that you can download and play as in this, besides what was already in there. We'll talk about that in a bit. So next, we've got these cool punch-outs. These looks like some monster tokens. Ooh, look at that nasty thing. Look at it. And obviously you've got your character tokens. They're dual-sided. Looks like you got some tokens here. Bad mojo. Good mojo, I'm assuming. And it's, it's thick cardboard too. Let me look at the edge of that. Nice and good quality stuff. Fantasy Flight does love tokens. They love dials too. If you've ever played any of the other games, like maybe like what's a good one? So like Forgotten Stars, that 40K game, dials in that. Most games they have some kind of a dial. No dials in this that I can see right now, but so far pretty cool. Alright, we got then they give you like a map. I don't even know if this fits all in the camera shot, but obviously you can see, you know, there's the valley, the bridge, the ruin, whatever that means. You know, the temple, things like that. So pretty cool. You use your little tokens, you move around. Not a bad looking map. Easy to just throw down on the table for a quick adventure. So the beginner rulebook. So read this book last. So obviously this is going to be some of the stuff. There's going to be another book we're going to look at here. I'm just kind of going through the stack as it was in the box. So if I'm doing this out of order, like don't criticize me too bad. It's got all like the more advanced rules and things like that. So once you play through the other book just to get the hang of it, it's got gear and things like that. I know a lot of Fantasy Flight games like this, like back to Forbidden Stars, which I just bought a couple of weeks ago. There was like a starter rulebook that you would play through like your first game or two, and then they give you a second book that's more in-depth, clearly defined rules for different situations that show up. But we'll go back through this once we go through some of the other stuff. Here we got 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's just go the character folio. So we have Tarist, the Sentinel. He looks like Plo Koon. Was Keldor, I believe. He's got his green lightsaber. Now I do, because this is just like the other starter set that I play through. It's kind of cool. So you've got your character sheet, what your dice mean, you know, all the stuff that you need as a player here. All your stats. It's really bright, really colorful, easy to read. It even says, stop here. Do not turn this page until instructed to by the GM. Obviously, the next page would probably be after you've leveled up or something like that, which gives you some more stats. This is obviously the dice that you roll for this particular action. So say as an example, so Charm, you would get the 3 green dice plus whatever else. Like I said, I don't have huge knowledge of it, but we are going to be playing this probably tomorrow night. I might even record it. Just then I'll put it on the channel. I'll talk to my game group. You know, they obviously got to be willing to be on YouTube. And then here's some other options as well. And then this is like your career tree and things like that. And it tells you like what symbols mean and things like that, which is pretty cool. So if you look at, so he's Brawn 1, Agility 3, Intellect 3, Cunning 3, Willpower 2, Presence 3. I'm assuming that feels pretty well-rounded minus his brawn. He's not super tough, not super brawny, but he's pretty good. 4 of his other 6. 11 wounds, his soak value, how much damage he reduces before he actually takes damage. It's kind of cool. So that's the Sentinel, Tarist. Next we have Surrenda, the Guardian. So obviously she's got more brawn. I believe the Guardians are almost like a tank character. Most of you that are watching, I would assume when I say tank, you understand what that means. For those of you that don't, people that are meant to attract attention and take damage so that the other people in the group or the people in the party don't. She's got higher soak value, higher wounds. Obviously it's built all the same. The dice, what each symbol on the dice means. This kind of get over here. A maneuver may include move, aim, take cover, things like that. All like the stuff you need as like a starting player. Your force rating of 1, how much money you start with. Lock, you cannot use your force powers until the GM instructs you otherwise. It's kind of cool. So they're probably going to work you through the several steps of the basic combat, basic skills, and then introduce you to force powers. For second level, stats remain the same. She does improve. Obviously, this one improves cool. And then she uses the Guardian tree. You know, grit, toughness, 2 wound threshold. That's kind of cool. And then obviously on the back of each, so there's like Surrenda's story, and then here's Tarist's story. You know, you can kind of read that to kind of understand where the character's coming from. All right, who we got next? So we got Kavari, the Seeker. She's purple. Purple alien. And I forget what race she is. It probably says here somewhere. The Togruta, that's what she is. So career as a seeker, higher agility, so she's better at like like piloting and things like that. So her weapon, she's got a blaster rifle, she's got her fists. Obviously she's got force powers that you can't use until you're instructed to do so. Then the second level here, advancement. So you get 10 experience points when you're told to. Obviously this thing improves athletics and it improves ranged heavy. And then this is like her basic character sheet with nothing on there. She uses the seeker tree, so she's got like dodge, parry. She gains grit, toughness, rapid recovery. She gains sense, control. So your sense power gains the following ability. Okay, that's kind of cool. So you get the powers and you gain additional effects with them. So you may commit one force die, which is the white dice apparently, once per round while it remains committed. Upgrade the difficulty of one attack that targets you once. It's not bad. Makes things harder for you to target you. And it's got her story. And then let's see who we got. We've got Dao the Mystic. Is this me, or does this guy look like a monk from, like, say, D&D 3.5 met Zabrak? I don't know. Let's just take a look here. Yep, so he's a Zabrak. He is a mystic. He's got a pretty good soak value and wounds. Force rating, he does have more money to start with. He's got 300. His stats are pretty good. He's got 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. He's got some pretty good skills. He's got some of his skills that include like one of the 6-sided blue dice. And the player's turn, yeah, so each one of them has all the stuff a player needs, like right there in front of them. His advancement, once he gains his level, or once he gains his experience points, then you can buy like melee skill, grit talent, force power upgrade, move, strength. He uses the Mystic Tree, so he's got like uncanny reaction. Add 1 boost blue die to all of your vigilance checks. And you got sense control, you got move strength. Your move power gains the following benefits. Spend 1 force point, which is like the circle, half black, white, to increase the maximum size of objects move can affect to about the size of a person. Not bad. So you can pick up a droid or something, throw it around. That's kind of cool. And then we've got this story on the back. So, next book we have the adventure book. So read this second. Well, they put it in backwards. Well, let's skip that for a second. Read this one first. So basically, like, this is the general. So, what is a role-playing game? Who are players? This looks like it's got a example of play. So Val, the GM, Yoshi, Zoe, Xander. They kind of play through a sequence. It's got like a little map here that they're kind of playing, so you can kind of see if you have questions. Then it's got the cool, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the little Star Wars beginning credits. Okay, easy enough. Back to this guy. Read this second. I'm assuming, so this is like the adventure book. So this is obviously for GM. I'm not going to reveal too much of this. This is for the Game Master only, so whoever's going to be playing the Game Master uses that. Talks about the contents of the box, what you should have in there, how to use this book. Talks about Star Wars Force and Destiny. The adventure begins. It talks about the different encounters, things like that. Looks like there is a, well, I'm going to say a holocron. I'm upside down. I can't read it very well, but it looks like a holocron. It looks like a what is that, a D12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, D12 holocron. Fantastic. It's got all this other stuff, the different boxes. Talks about movement and range, performing an attack, dealing damage and suffering wounds, like all that basic combat stuff. Each of these little boxes is going to have something that pertains to what's going on, probably on the page or the previous page. And it's got like the Brown boxes, it looks like they're adversaries. So they're stats that the players fight against. You know, the monk here, sorry, the mystic, don't mind me. The mystic. Demon man, whatever he is. He looks like something, he looks like a demon from 40K. Looks some kind of odd bloodletter. Wrap up and rewards. So obviously you can probably, I believe if you look at the, like if you like, say you like this guy, if you want to continue playing him, it gives you this sheet here that you can fill out yourself and continue to play this character with his background and things like that, which is kind of cool. And then it talks about further adventures and things that you could do with it. GM tips and advice. And then, oh, there's a free downloadable adventure as well on fantasyfight.com. So definitely I'll put a link in the comments below. Not in the comments, but in the description below to get to the Star Wars page so you can take a look at those if you're interested. And then it's just got some, basically like a little quick reference chart of what the symbols mean and things for the GM, because the players have it all in their booklet. GM needs it for them. Well, so then obviously, you know, so we got to read this book last. Read this first. You got your 4 characters. You got your map, your punch outs, and your dice. Honestly, I think for the $22, $23 that I paid online for this, I think it's well worth the money spent. So if you come to this video looking to be like, oh, okay, let's take a look at this, I might be interested, I, as an experienced game master, would recommend this to you. I do love Star Wars, so I might be a little biased. Like if you've watched my introduction video about kind of where I've come from as a GM, you'll know that I was playing Star Wars role-playing game back when it was owned by West End Games, back in the early 90s, when it was just an all D6 system, and I played all the editions up to this now. So I'm probably going to continue to play Star Wars off and on, probably until either I get old and senile and can't play anymore, or I just, some kind of life-changing event gets me away from gaming. But that's what's in this box. Star Wars Force and Destiny beginner game. If I was to give it a rating, I would give it, I don't know, I'd give it like a 4.5 out of 5. Obviously there could be more stuff, maybe more characters, a longer adventure. It didn't, from kind of flipping through it, it doesn't look too long. Obviously, depending upon what your players decide to do or not do will determine how long it is. But I think it's a good place to start. I think it done really well. Alright, well that's this episode of What's in the Box. We'll have another one coming soon. Take care, and we'll see you again in the dungeon.